Your first repository. Welcome back. In this video, I'm going to show you how to create your first Git repository on your local machine, as well as how to connect it to a repository on GitHub. In this course and video, I'm already assuming that you know some command line basics and can put commands in the terminal for your operating system. If not, I would highly recommend getting used to them, as they will be highly beneficial for you later on. Doing things from the command line may seem a tedious way to do things at first, but it'll grow on you, and eventually you'll reach the point where your command line will just be much faster than a graphical interface. So let's begin. At this point, I'm assuming you've managed to install Git correctly. You can test this by running git --version. That should show up and show that it's installed. You should have already configured your SSH keys and match it to your GitHub, as well as put in your GitHub credentials by running git config, goddamn, same mistake, --list. And that should list some details about Git. So to create a repository, first thing you want to do is make sure you are in a folder that does not already have an existing Git file and or is already a Git repository. In this case, I'm in the root directory of the no-nonsense GitHub project, so I'll need to go out of there by removing up a directory. And you can see Boot Camp does not have any Git files initialized. I'm using the OhmyZSH plugin, which lets me know whether or not I have a Git file already initialized, and if so, what branch I'm on. I highly recommend downloading it, as it will make your life so much easier from here on out when dealing with Git. To get started, let's go ahead and make a directory for our project. We'll call it first repository. There we go. We'll go ahead and switch into that. There we go. First repository. Inside here, there is currently nothing. We're going to do some basic commands. We're going to make an HTML file. We'll call this one index.html. I'm going to go ahead and open that in Sublime because that is my default text editor. Let's go ahead and populate it with some data. In this case, just a basic hello world page. And let's save that. Right now, we've got nothing done in here. Let's go ahead and start Git. And to initialize your first Git repository, the command is git init, and that will initialize a Git repository. It just says initialize empty Git repository in user main desktop bootcamp first repository, which is our file path. Once you're inside here, it's now saying you're git and branch master. That way there is a Git repository initialized and you are on branch master, and I will go over branching in much more detail on the fourth video so you understand what it does. But for now, don't worry yourself about it. Your next command you're going to do is run git status. This shows an untracked file of index.html. And Git has three stages. There is the stage of the working directory, where you are working with your files, and they are typically unadded and unlisted. In this case, they're untracked. By running git add, which is the next command you will run, let's go ahead and run that now, git add index.html. And if I run git status again, which git status is going to be your best friend from here on out, it can show you that it is now listed as changes to be committed. It is changed from working directory into staging area. And staging area is essentially saying to Git, here are all the changes I would like to send into my repository. And from here, we can simply run a git commit, and this essentially creates a save point that allows you to say, I like my progress up till here, I would like to create a save or restore point. Imagine it as a game where it has a little pop-up that says, would you like to save your current progress? And at any point in time, you can load any of the previous saves. You're simply moving one save forward. The -m flag here allows you to put a message associated with the commit. In this case, I'm going to put hello world, as that is exactly what we put in there. And keep in mind, a commit with a message is practically mandatory. I wouldn't even try to put a commit without the -m, as these -ms will come very useful to you later on. And I'll show you how in just a little bit. So congratulations, we've got a save point, and it's being tracked now. Except that Git still doesn't know what to do with it. And this is where you're going to go ahead and build yourself a repository. In my case, I'm going to build a repository, click New on GitHub. And this one I'm going to call it first-repo, just like we did previously. That's all you need to do, and just click Create Repository. At which point, you now have a repository, but there's nothing in it. And there's two ways to set it up. One is to create from the command line and add it in there. And the second way, since we already have our Git repository initialized, is to link it together with this. Git remote add origin git@github.com, and then the name of your repository. So you can more or less just copy this entire command here, throw it into your GitHub, and paste that in. And now it's linked the repository on your local computer with your repository on GitHub. And from here, if I want to send it up to the repository, all I need to do is git push -u origin master. Again, don't worry about what origin master means, or even the -u. We will explain it in detail later. Just know that GitHub lists the commands for you when you create the repository. And hit enter. At which point now it's sending up the data to GitHub. Now if I was to refresh this page, here is index.html on our online repository. And here it is, hello world, on the internet for everyone to see. And that is how you make your first repository. But let's say you want to make a few changes, or perhaps want to make some minor modifications to the existing file. Let's go ahead and open that back into Sublime. Here's our index.html. We want to add another h2 tag, for example. And the h2, right, it auto-completes. Sorry about that. Hello, Mars. And let's save that. And now if you go back to your repository and run a git status, you will see that it is tracking it, but it has been modified. And whenever you're adding and modifying anything, just know that Git right here lists the history of what has happened to it, whether it's been added, deleted, or modified, and then lists the file name. So in this case, let's say I want to add another file, touch readme.md. I'm just create a basic readme file for this repository. I can open that in Sublime as well. Apparently Sublime will already open it. Let's just throw a basic message in there, save, and test. I'm going to go git status now. You'd see that you have an untracked files right here of readme.md. It's simply not being tracked. Git add runs the same for both untracked files and modified files, where it simply puts them into the next stage that we discussed earlier, where they are now added into the staging area where they are ready to be committed. Let's go ahead and run that now. There are a few commands to do this. You want to add multiple files, you can do git add dot for current directory or -a for all. The dot is usually faster. Save yourself some time. Git status. And here we go now. You can see that both of these are up to date with Origin Master. However, for whatever reason, we chose to maybe not add the readme and decided we don't need the readme. We have this command right here. Use git reset head file to unstage. So git reset head, and head in this instance is a reference to your previous commit, and the file name is readme.md. Git status again, and you can see that now it'll only push our modifications to the index.html and not the readme file, if we chose to do that. We can do git add file to put it back in the stage area, but now if I was to run a git commit, the readme changes and or addition would be completely ignored, while still allowing you to push the changes from index.html. Let's go ahead and do that. Git add index.html, git status. And right now we just have our index and our readme. Let's go ahead and git push origin master. And that will push your changes right back to GitHub. Actually, wait, I forgot to commit. Right, sorry about that. Git commit -m h2. Git commit message of the h2, because now we have an h2. And now we can run git push origin master. And as soon as that's done, you will see this restore itself. And there's Hello Mars, just like we did the previous time, while still not having the readme, because we chose to remove it from the commit. Other than that, let's see. We've already initialized remote add origin, git status, add, checkout. Yes. You can check out a file to remove it from that list entirely. Other than that, I believe we've already gone over all of this. Reset head to unstaged, I've already demonstrated that, and git push origin master. Another cool thing that's not listed here that will come in handy is git remote-v. And here you can view the connection that you have to the GitHub. In this case, it's referencing my repository. Well, there you have it. You've built your first repository and successfully pushed data to it. I'll show you how to do that in collaboration with another developer in the next video. I'll see you there.